with Chelcie, Marketing Director at Levin, and Glenn, who is VP of Marketing, Success and Insights at
It's the longest job title still.
It is, I've been practicing.
We've got an acronym. Can we smush it together?
ISM is what we use.
ISM, nice.
ISM.
There you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
VP of ISM.
You could have said you just like, let me get it long.
But then people just go, what does ISM
Yeah.
mean? So you have to say it anyway. So, yeah.
And today, so this is part 3 of how to create a killer marketing plan. If you missed part 1 and 2, I've put some links in the comments there so you can watch them back. And also, when you check those out, we've got links to some handy downloads on each of those pages as well. So in part 1, we covered aligning with company goals, setting your marketing objectives, checking out the competition. In part 2, which was the last one, we covered personas, and we went really nice and deep on that. I'm not sure even what the end outcome was, whether we all agreed.
We all agreed. Glenn came to my side.
He
He joined the dark side. We love buyer personas.
We love the buyer persona so much, in fact, that in the last 2 weeks we've inspired by, I don't know whether you've ever used the HubSpot persona builder tool, but inspired by that, we've actually built our own on the Leap, but based on the jobs to be done framework that I mentioned last time. So jobs to be done includes customer pains, gains.
Automobiles.
You're
Jokes.
right.
That was just me joking, don't worry.
Jobs to be done.
Dad joke.
Pains and gains.
Yeah, it's great, so.
Sorry, I'm just interrupting you. I'm so sorry.
Derail me. So that framework, we've built a tool that we're launching later today. Charles shouldn't have favourites, but he is my favourite developer. He's fine-tuning that. So what you can do, it will take you through a few steps to put your persona details in, all your insights, and then you'll get a sort of persona report that you'll be able to download and use for this bit, which is the choosing your channels and your messaging. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's start with Chelcie and the importance of choosing the right channels. What happens if you don't? Give us a bit of a lowdown.
Yeah, obviously super important, really. It's very vital. It's how you're reaching your audience. So I guess the answer is, if you get it wrong, if you are not really thinking about it properly, then you're just not going to be heard by your audience. Yeah. Really simple as that, really. I think is as key as it goes with it.
And is it just LinkedIn? I mean, are we overcomplicating this? Should we just post 3 times a week on LinkedIn and then be done with it? And it doesn't even matter what we post, as long as we include a swear word for extra engagement. That's what I see.
Is that actually swear words increase engagement?
That's not. I've seen
The Leap.
People saying
2023.
that, and I just find it ridiculous.
Yeah,
like,
shock
factor.
factor. Is it?
Yeah.
I think when it comes to channels, it's not so much choosing the right channels, especially in our world of kind of recruitment. It's not choosing the channels. I think sometimes there's a risk that we go on every channel. We chase the shiny. Oh, we need to go on TikTok because a competitor's there, or we need to go
I've
here.
seen
we
you
need
on
to
TikTok, Glenn. You've got a profile on TikTok.
I've got a profile.
Look
I've
it
got
up
no
now.
posts.
Yeah.
There's no dancing. But I think, and the reason why I think we do a lot of the kind of chasing every channels, and it comes back down to the persona building or that research behind, is that we just don't know where our audiences are enough.
Yeah.
And so we kind of go channel first, or a lot of people go kind of channel first and waste a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of learning for something that's probably not returning the results.
Yeah.
So kind of, it definitely is. I think it's a less is more approach in the majority world of channels. You'd much rather choose 4 channels and be able to dedicate 80% of your work to it than choose 10 channels and you're only maximising 20% across them, aren't you? So
I think it depends on your team size as well, right? It depends what your resources and your kind of time that you're able to allocate to things are. Because with all of this, if you're choosing a channel where you haven't got someone to manage that channel, or haven't got the resources to put behind it, then that is also going to damage you.
it becomes a task rather than anything strategic. Then you think, oh, crap, I haven't posted on Instagram today. I just need to do something, and that's not that's not marketing, is it? That's,
Yeah.
No,
It's doing it for the sake of
ticking
doing it, and
boxes,
that's
yeah.
absolutely not the right way of doing it. That's not what the best brands do. If you think about any ones that resonate with you.
And do you still find, is it still a thing internally where people will come up and go, we should be on TikTok?
Yes.
Why aren't we on TikTok?
Yeah,
Oh,
of course.
yeah.
Yeah. But that's non-marketers that say that.
Yeah. How do you fend that off internally? Because it's tricky, isn't it? I
Well,
found
you
find it
need to
hard.
have the plan, don't you? You know,
Yeah.
it comes back to
A plan.
yeah. If you've got a plan and you've had that commitment at a company level to understand what you're doing and what the results are, you've got a ready-made pushback there. And that's not saying that, you know, marketers shouldn't be open to ideas from non-marketers and people outside the business, but it should be in a more structured way to have that feedback and introduce kind of new ideas, because it is very reactive. We know what the world of recruitment's like. Usually the people who come to us with these ideas, they're salespeople. They approach things in a certain way, a very convincing way that makes it hard to say no sometimes. But you know, it's easier to say no if you've got that plan in hand and you kind of know what you're doing and you already know that you're adding value to them.
So you just said, I think I'm right, choose around 4 channels. Around.
Dependent,
resources.
depending on and depending on the markets that you operate in. You know, I think we've probably said it in the previous 2 sessions. It always seems like a cop out saying it depends, but it really does. You know, whether you're in white collar recruitment, blue collar recruitment, grey collar. I saw that phrase, grey collar. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Just
What's that?
What's
What's
that? My head around blue and white. Don't choose the grey.
I can imagine like anything the volume. If you're in volume recruitment, I can imagine your channels will be a lot more. I think just because your candidate pool is a lot more kind of diverse and expanded compared to those operating in more niche sectors. You know, similar to all the Storm brands that Chelsea has, and to me in life sciences, is that we don't need to be across everywhere unless, you know, we've done the work and we've segmented, you know, certain roles, and we know that there is a particular channel that works best for those roles.
So we're going to do a little game now. We're going to massively oversimplify. So this is don't play this at home, but do enjoy it. It depends is not an answer in this, which obviously it's always the answer, right? So we're going to do a quick fire round, inspired by Married at First Sight and Strictly Come Dancing.
Good.
Came up with this idea on the train on the way down, and we're going to do a quick fire round, going through the channels, and we're just going to ask you for a yes or no. Do you value this channel? Starting with clients. So if you were doing client activity,
rather than like employer branding.
Or candidates. So let's whittle it down to that now. So firstly, Chelsea, do you want to give us a really top level? I know this is oversimplifying, but
sure.
On your typical client that you know.
Sure. So we work in disruptive tech sectors, so fintech, health tech, green tech, retail tech, ed tech at the moment. So our typical client is a founder or senior C-suite, VP, director, hiring manager level within those sort of tech startup scale-up businesses.
Okay, cool. How about you, Glenn? Give us a view of...
Yeah, it depends. But I think, you know, when you look at the life sciences world, that it's split up very much into kind of the tech-led biotechs and those up-and-coming, you know, disruptive companies, all the way up to the big pharma companies that everyone's unfortunately been made a lot more aware of over the past 2 or 3 years. And it will be either founders, but then equally it will be people working in talent acquisition who kind of hold the keys to the opportunities and the recruitment side of things.
Okay, cool. So we've got a bit of an understanding of each of your markets in terms of clients. I'm gonna rattle through a couple of channels. Give us a yes, we value it. No, we don't. Play along as well. Put it in the comments. Or actually, if I don't list the channel that you want to know their answer to, drop it in the comments. Let's do that, because otherwise I'll see lots of yes nos and I won't know what you were talking about. So so instead I'll go through the channels, and if I miss one that you want to know, should we be doing it or are they doing it, pop it in and I'll put it to the panel. So quick fire round. Organic LinkedIn, do you value it or not? Was that 2 yeses?
2 yeses.
Oh, let's shout as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just make a note. 2 yeses. Sponsored LinkedIn.
No.
Oh!
No.
So no and a no. SEO.
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh. Glad you both said that. That would have been awkward. I saw that SEO. Paid search.
No.
Yes.
Ooh, controversial. Love it. PR.
Yes.
No.
Ooh.
Or did I do
Nice.
on? No. Yeah.
Email marketing.
Yes.
Nice. Events.
Yes.
No.
Ooh. Instagram.
No.
I'm not enjoying this way too much. TikTok.
No.
Have I missed any? Take to the comments. Let me know. No one said anything yet. But there is a delay, so we might see this come through in a couple of seconds. Right. So, SEO. No, you're both yes. Paid search. Chelsea said no. Glenn said yes. Talk me through it.
This is one that I said yes, but I don't kind of actively use it at the moment. But it's something where my mind has been changed a little bit over recent years, but probably not for the reasons why people might assume. Is like you think paid search and
You're going for life science recruitment. Is
no,
that
no, you think paid search and you think automatic ROI, but I think the way various platforms
Is that what you think when you think? What do you think when someone says paid search? Do
I
you
mean,
think automatic
short term.
ROI?
Yeah.
yeah,
It's not automatic or ROI, but I would assume they're doing it to try and get quick wins.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Whereas I
Yeah.
think you probably have to pay attention a little bit now to kind of paid search in that sense, away from the quick wins. And I'm only basing this purely on how the various platforms, Google at the top there, have evolved. That so much of Google's, that first page that you go into is dominated now by sponsored searches. Now, you might say users scroll past it, but I don't think of it now as that automatic return. There's an element that you're even just paying to be noticed from a brand awareness. So utilising paid search as an awareness rather than a lead generation is, I think it's not the
Does that
worst
make it
thing to do.
PR.
I don't know. Yeah,
Because
it's
that's
just
technically like
yeah.
paid.
And how would you measure that? Because would you measure, because that's like eyes on rather than
Yeah.
click-throughs you're even talking about.
100%. And it's hard to measure. We know it's hard to measure brand awareness beyond asking at candidate registration point of view. Where did you hear about us? That classic question, and being quite tight on that. But I just think it's got a role. I wouldn't. Would I use it as a specific campaign if we had like a white paper and things? Probably not. I think that as recruitment businesses, we've got far too much access to our own kind of database and things to be able to utilise, like
Yeah.
You
email
reckon
marketing
it
and
could
things.
be, yes, but it's not tried and tested by you.
No,
personally.
it's just something that I'd probably explore, but it's a hard one to justify throwing X thousands of pounds a month into paid when it's not directly lead generating. But
How about you, Chelsea? What led to the no?
I think it's a money pit, isn't it? It's just a money pit. I think there's, when I first started here, it was one of the first things I thought, being like, okay, we need a budget to do some paid, because it was stuff that I'd done in every other business, and it was just a given. It was just one of those things that you just had a budget for paid. And so I kind of went into this thinking, okay, well, I need a couple of grand a month just to test things out and see how we can do it. We're a new business as well, even if it's just getting us the eyes on piece while we're growing. Maybe that will be some quick wins on that route rather than actually like conversion rates leading to like revenue generation. But I think it's a bit lazy. It's a lot of work that goes into it, don't get me wrong. I don't think the actual act of being a paid marketer is lazy. Just think in terms of part of, you know, sorry, my head of digital is going to kill me for saying this. He loves paid. No, I just think it's short term. I don't think it's focused on building trust and building a brand and that side of things in terms of the relationship between yourself and the audience. I'm also of the mindset that this might, you know, we're working with tech businesses, quite tech savvy people. I think I'm pretty tech savvy in that remark. I scroll past the sponsored. I scroll past the first through and go more to the SEO, the organic, like who's put the effort in behind this to build the keyword kind of roots.
I think one of the parts that this makes up as well, that again I don't think probably gets used enough, is the retargeting side of things, which isn't necessarily kind of paid search, but it plays a role in terms of user behaviour, and then if people are going on other sites, kind of seeing your brand as well. I see
I was gonna say we've got some suggestions to add on. Should we go for these? We've got Twitter and Facebook suggestions from Sarah.
No, Sarah.
Yeah, sorry. We actually do use Twitter, but very much for brand awareness, and that's going to be one of these for me, because tech businesses, it does sit in with our channels of what we have. It's not something we put too much effort into, because it's just another channel to share this content in a different way for us. I think Twitter's such a hard thing.
I use it as we use it as a listening tool.
Yeah, that's probably the best way of doing it. We do it a listening tool for the brands that we work with. It can't be lead gen when it's social media managers that are managing those platforms. So it's not really it's
very hard to do.
You have to be constant.
From a brand perspective as well. Unless
you've got a funny tone of voice, you have to be.
Unless you're Aldi or something,
exactly.
That is part of their strategy. You know, you couldn't do that.
100%. Innocent smoothies. Like you have to be a funny brand to make Twitter work
probably
for you.
A consumer brand, if we're being honest.
Really, realistically.
Nice. I like that.
I can't imagine any of our like hiring managers retweeting a recruitment business because they've said something funny. It just doesn't really feel very. We'd have to change our entire tone of voice. Like,
how about PR then? So Chelsea, you were a yes. Glenn, you were a no. What led to the yes?
Yeah, we really embrace PR. I think from a couple of different routes. I think one from a thought leadership perspective. We want to position ourselves as the recruitment arm of fintech, the recruitment arm of health tech, rather than it being just we know about recruitment. It's like we know it specifically within your niche. So using sort of targeted, not just press releases, but like guest articles, expert quotes, things like that within media platforms and kind of news sites that health tech sits within, rather than just being like recruitment stuff. Obviously as well for like key milestones for us as a business, just that's kind of given, but the thought leadership piece is a really big part, and also profile raising for individuals within the business as well. Having things like we've got our director, our Storm 2 director, Katie, putting her out there as the expert voice, not just Storm 2, kind of putting a face in front of it, so that she's putting her forward for panels and podcasts and things like that. That's something that we actively target, and obviously like digital PR as well from a backlinks perspective. It feeds into the SEO piece and all of that. So this is all, the whole point I think with all of this is like omni-channel is the way forwards, but making sure that you're kind of targeting it specifically for that channel. It's like what we spoke about this earlier in terms of like, is it a channel or is it a content type with certain things, and it's literally just like content types, but changing the messaging depending on what channel you're in, understanding that channel and how that changes the messaging.
So how about you? Well, why not PR?
I think it's more probably the paid PR. Like, I don't want to kind of caveat it, but
when you say paid, you mean like using
award entries?
You know, I'm a little bit against
Skeptic. I get it.
Spending £3,000 to a PR agency to do the work for you.
We do it internally. So
internally it works. You know, identifying publications website you can hook up with. I'd much that 100% that. That being said, you know, I know he watched one of them. Is someone like I know MRL were based down in Brighton, and they were one of the first companies that really built out or did the 4-day working week, and they engaged with a PR agency, and it was so nichely focused on operating as a business that does a 4-day week, you know, kind of
Specific
single
campaigns.
topic campaign that got them, you know, BBC, ITV, Times, that around that topic. I see that completely worthwhile. But you know, if you're going to a PR agency and expecting
we just want to be everywhere,
do everything all the time, you go get
that's
nothing.
literally one of the problems that we had right at the start, because before I've now got a PR person within the business. Before that hire, we were looking at PR agencies, and the problem that we had as exactly that is, like, unless you have a specific campaign in mind, unless you have you need to be so specific with your targets. I want our CFO to be featured in Forbes. Like, that needs to be a target that you're working towards constantly, rather than we want to be more known to our audience. Like, that's just, it's so broad that you could, it's another money pit. It's another money pit. 100%. It's not useful writing unless it's adding value to the audience. And it's the same thing across all, like, the whole, like what we spoke about in terms of your marketing strategy, basically. Don't do it just for the sake of doing it. Do it because there's a goal at the end of it.
Goal and a plan behind it. So, and then the other one that there was some disagreement on was events. So Chelsea was a yes, Glenn was a no. Why the no, Glenn, on events?
I don't know, it's effort versus rewards.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's just a personal thing. Is like I hated events. I hated the organising. I hated the uncertainty of people turning up and stuff like that, and the lack of control on that side. Is the reward enough? Probably. To be fair, it's a little bit more personal. I think again, like kind of PR and stuff. I think when you talk about effort versus reward, you might be better off. And we didn't really cover it as a thing, but like sponsorship type thing. If you're in a niche and there's specific events run by companies, publications that have been doing it for years, and that's their job to put on these events, is it better in terms of your time, effort and money to explore the opportunities of being able to, you know, be that event's recruitment partner or whatever that might be, still get access to it. So I'm probably organising your own events, unless they're coming from, and there's some brilliant companies that do this. You know, I'm thinking about kind of someone at you know, Trust in Soda, who do like their Women in DevOps events. Is you have to come from events, I think, from a completely selfless point of view. You can't expect to get results straight away. You have to be adding value to the community in that.
And
side
that
of
I think you said the key word there, because that's the other thing that we haven't really mentioned, which I'm surprised you didn't pick up on. Like community building kind of ties hand in hand with events here. Obviously, Lonely Marketers, right? That is a massive part of that. Of like, the events were kind of a second trait. Second kind of place that just adds on to building a community around it. And I think, again, it's just all based down to that value add piece. It's the difference of, can it be, rather than you forcing content down someone's throat, can you bring people together to create discussion and kind of add value to each other as well? User generated stuff is very, very powerful. That if you can do that, that's the ultimate goal, isn't it?
I always say, if you are going down the events route, you get the most value and the most return through either side of the actual event. You know, the creating the interest, the building the lists, then using the content from the event for future content strategies in terms of being able to slice and dice and reasons to reach out. So I think that, you know, the results happen either side than the event itself a lot of the time.
We actually use it as a bit of a on the flip side of that, we are a bit sneaky, I guess. We use it as an excuse or as such to invite our clients to be panelists. So we actually use it as a relationship building exercise to spotlight our clients, and using it from a commercial relationship point of view, even if they're not people that we've placed with or kind of actually directly worked with yet. It's a free add-on for them to get we've got massive followings on LinkedIn. Come and speak to all of our audience. This is going to help your employer brand. It doesn't cost us any money to do a LinkedIn Live. And also we can bring them into the journey with us and add value, and they get to speak about something and fluff up their own egos and things like that. It's that bit rather than the actual audience, because LinkedIn Lives are very difficult to get leads from because of the fact that you get a list on LinkedIn saying who's watched it. It's not even who watched it, it's who clicked attending, isn't it? Whereas the speakers themselves end up being more like useful leads to us. So that's kind of looking at it in a slightly different format, I think. Rather than the attendees, we actually look at it from the speakers.
So the channels we've just gone through there that we rattled through really quickly, if you had to pick one to really master, say you're let's paint the picture of you're a resource limited team, because obviously Chelsea, you've got
I've got stupid amount of people.
You've got loads of people.
I've got 23 people in my team.
23 people. How many have you got, Glenn?
8.
So, and some of the people out there, you might be the only person in your marketing team. So let's paint the picture. If you were a one-person team, where would you put your emphasis?
SEO.
Email marketing.
Ooh. Okay. Oh, I'm enjoying
I'm thinking about this in two different ways, though, because if I'm thinking about when I first started with this business, we didn't have the CRM to back up. So we'd only been a year old. We had barely any contacts and any information on our CRM. So the only thing that I could control in terms of lead generation was the website, because it was something that we owned. It was our own content. It was driving traffic, new traffic, 90% of the time through that.
True.
And we had the commercial and the sales teams to action those leads that we got. So SEO for me was driving the conversion points on the website.
When you say email, just to clarify, are you talking about an existing database, or have you ever bought data and tried to do that?
No, I've never bought it. It depends. Again,
it depends on what your audience is.
It depends what stage you're at.
Yeah.
But if you get email marketing right, and I'm not talking about sales messages here. It can be. Literally a live example. We're doing. Emily, who does our content, is doing a piece on women in leadership in life sciences, and we thought, do you know what? It'll be a good idea maybe just to ask our database what they thought in a quick survey. We've had 1,200 people kind of fully complete a survey, which is huge. But off the back of that as well, there's so many candidates that have updated their details, asked for calls for consultants and things. And I think I mentioned it in the Lonely Marketers WhatsApp group last night, is getting that management of your CRM as a marketer is so powerful. But then we're going back to what we spoke about in the first episode, that power to segment, send the right messages and things, automate and things like that is hugely powerful. But everyone's at different journeys, and like you say, you can't email market to nobody.
So I would,
it's a tough gig, that.
But that's where it works. SEO from building something, if you're starting out, if you don't know where to start with, just to start bringing in the right audience, and then absolutely email marketing as the second point of view.
Well, you're not going to believe this. This has been 30 minutes.
Always
and
is.
I feel like, we have just flown through. I hope you enjoyed that. We had big plans to do clients, and then we were going to do
employer branding side,
maybe even candidates, but we got carried away with our one round. So hopefully that was useful to you. I think I got a lot of great insight from you both there, so thanks for that. So next time we're going to be going into the messaging factor, because obviously once you've chosen your channels, you've got to talk to your audience, right? Find messages that resonate. So we'll be looking at how to put together a value proposition and how to basically nail it. Like once you're on the channel, say the right things and really engage your target. So look out for that. I'll be creating the event. It will be not in 2 weeks' time because I think that's Easter. So slightly after that. So I'll set the date and I'll let you know in comments. And yeah, see you then. Hopefully you don't get too chilly in the snow. I wouldn't believe it. It's sunny down here. I came from a blizzard this morning. So stay warm. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Have a good Easter.
Bye.
Bye.
Now the weird bit. We've got him.
It always flies by.
Flies by, doesn't it?